TGIF, salamat Jesus at Biyernes ulit. But before you hit the road for that quick weekend getaway, we give you the day's latest headlines until 3 p.m. Ako po si Denise Tan.
Hit the road talaga ako, hit the bed. Lord de Vera naman po ang aking pangalan. Magandang hapon Pilipinas, minamahal kong bayan. Duyan ng magiting, lahi ng matatapang. Sa sobrang matatapang, libo-libo ang nanlaban, libo-libo nasa libingan. At ang smoking gun, sabi ng isang abogado, nasa isip mo lang. Ito ng programang Always on the Side of Life. Ito na po ang Afternoon Delight.
Okay, huling Biyernes na nga po ng buwan ng Pebrero at napakaraming ganap, lalo na this week. At tatlo na dyan ay yung pagpapatuloy ng confirmation of charges hearings of former President Rodrigo Duterte at huling araw ng hearing today. But again, we saw Attorney Nicholas Kaufman, the lead counsel for President Duterte or former President Duterte, have his turn for the defense. At ang dami niyang mga sinabi, even accusing prosecutions, Jeremy, na inimbento lang daw yung konsepto ng elastic mouth, sinasabi.
Matindi.
Oo.
Mm-hmm. Kaya, pag pinanood mo yung pinanood ko yung Quadcom, yung mga Quadcom hearing sa Congress, mapapaano ka na lang talaga, mapapailing ka
Iling ka na lang, oo.
Oo, tapos, of course, third day, huling araw ngayon. So, interesting na magkakaroon ng pagkakataon din ba ang prosecution na sagutin yung nilatag ng depensa?
Madami kasi siyang sinabi kagabi, di ba? Talking about Attorney Kaufman, na parang selective daw yung naging process.
Cherry picking.
Cherry picking, exactly, yung term na ginamit niya. Lagi ang pinapakita daw at naging headlines ng media ay yung mga exciting parts lang. Kumbaga, kapag may sinasabi lang si former President Duterte about killing or paano yung process ng drug war itself, pero kapag sinasabi na daw yung legality, hindi na daw yun sinasama ng media.
Yeah. As opposed to, kaninong statement pa ba ang ilalagay mo sa headline? Considering sa news may loss of life, tapos ang statement pa is from the highest official of the land.
That's right.
Alam nga naman, front page mo yung nangyayari kay Katniel. Di ba? Or yung nangyayari sa stock market. Or ano pa ba?
May pagpabanggit pa nga ng deflated peso kagabi, di ba?
Sa sports? Pwede pa ba? Pwede,
Kung ganun nakabigat ang mga nangyayari sa Pilipinas,
Pwede rin. Kung may trophy o di ba, o ginanto ang medalya na nakuha, pwede rin. Pero, ewan ko, cherry picking on one side, cherry picking sa other side din. Nagpapalitan sila ng accusations ng cherry picking. Pero ano pa ba ipipick mo? Mansanas? Press con din sa Club Filipino. Ito, isang abogado ang nag-akusa na 18 sundalo na marino ang nag-deliver daw ng kickbacks sa ilang government officials from bring him home. Sabi ng naghanap sa kanya si Zaldico, ang fugitive na si Zaldico. Para sa, ito tingin mo dapat pinansin o pwede nang hindi pansinin. Kinala naman sa ombudsman, di ba? Pero sino pa yung nagsalita?
Actually, lumalaki to lalo, rather, dahil madaming nagbabanggit na bakit parang masyado naman daw atang sakto yung timing and then yung credibility nung nagsalita na ang was it the Philippine, I believe the Philippine Navy nagsabi na, teka lang,
dalawa dyan
dishonorable discharge. Tapos, dalawa yung
Dalawa hindi members.
Hindi member, tapos majority is naka-dishonorable discharge. Oo.
Tapos, ito rin yung nasa likod dito yung tao na nagpalabas kay Orly Gotesa na biglang hindi na mahanap ngayon.
Oo.
Yung abogado naman ay nakilala nung panahon nung, if you remember, yung kay Janet Napoles, yung scam na kasama ang siya yung abogado ni Ben Hurlo, yung isa sa mga key witnesses. Ayan. Pero, so, ibig sabihin ito, lahat na lang ng mga akusasyon na lumutang papatulan? O pinipili rin ang bibigyan ng atensyon?
Pero naipasa na nga sa
sa ombudsman. So, sino ang bahala? Hindi kasi ito, Kaya sa naging konsekwensya, tinatahi doon sa nangyayaring ICC hearing.
Oo.
Na keso binayaran daw yung mga prosecutors.
Ayun na nga, kaya nga sinasabi ng mga tao, teka lang, parang ang ganda naman masyado ng timing also, ng lalabas ng storyang ito.
Ika nga ni Auntie Claire, lousy script.
Ayun.
Oo. Pero to hindi scripted ba ito? 40th anniversary ng EDSA People Power Revolution noong Pebrero 25 na sinabayan ng 3rd trillion peso march.
Ayan nga, no, nagtipon-tipon ulit ang ating mga kababayan for their call for accountability and transparency, yung mga sumali po doon sa trillion peso march. At na sakto nga, nagsabay doon sa commemoration of the 40th anniversary of the People Power.
At this time nakita natin yung simbahan taking a much bigger representation siguro. Kasi pero siguro nagkaroon ng affirmation within the church na reclaim natin. Kasi sa totoo lang, ang malaking nag-mobilize dito talaga simbahan noong 1986. Si Jaime Cardinal ang nanawagan ng mga tao na pumunta kayo rito sa Krami at sa Camp Aguinaldo. At ganun din nakita natin na napakaraming Catholic schools, no?
Oo.
Ang nagdeklara na okay, walang pasok na maki-join sa celebration. So, reclaiming yung moral, kumbaga, grounding, yung moral responsibility ng, of course, isa sa mga primary movers and shakers ng revolusyon ng 1986. And as we said, it's the last day of Duterte's hearing at The Hague. And on day 3, it was the defense's turn to present their case. The former Philippine president's lead counsel asserted no common plan, there was no criminal intent, and no smoking gun. The details in this report.
On the third day of the International Criminal Court's confirmation of charges hearing, it was the camp of former President Rodrigo Duterte that fired back at the prosecution's arguments. But before that, Duterte's lawyer, attorney Nicholas Kaufman, clarified that the defense does not intend to disrespect the souls of the deceased.
The defense does not disrespect the soul of any deceased person, nor does it make light of the loss of life.
Kaufman also took aim at the Philippine media. He argued that journalists tend to focus only on the more sensational portions of Duterte's speeches.
Journalists and their editors have a tendency to fixate on the salacious elements of a person's speeches while ignoring the less interesting parts.
It can be recalled that the prosecution presented several of Duterte's past statements about the war on drugs, statements that made headlines at the time. These include Duterte's alleged admission that he was responsible for killings carried out by police. But Kaufman countered that the prosecution failed to show other parts of those speeches, which he said demonstrate the legal use of self-defense by police officers.
And the order is simply this: go out, arrest them if you can. But if there is no peaceful method of doing it and you're presented with violent resistance, thereby placing your jeopardy in your life, you shoot.
For this reason, Kaufman argued that Duterte's speeches alone are not enough to directly link him to extrajudicial killings.
The point we really merely wish to make is that relying on the former prosecutor's speeches as a means of proving criminal intent is impossible.
Meanwhile, Davao City-based journalist Ben Jason Teshorna objected to the prosecution's presentation of his video, which showed Duterte watching CCTV footage of the killing of 3 suspected thieves at Agdao Public Market in 2013. In his affidavit, Teshorna said the prosecution did not have permission to use his copyrighted video. He also denied any association with what he described as a tampered or spliced version of the footage, saying its broadcast has damaged his reputation and put his family at risk. Kaufman further insisted that there is no smoking gun, no direct evidence proving that Duterte ordered police officers to kill.
Not one witness relevant to any of the 49 incidents with which Mr. Rodrigo Duterte is charged will testify that he received a direct order from the former president to go out and kill someone.
The defense also questioned the crimes against humanity charge. Kaufman argued that compared to the number of arrests made during the anti-drug campaign, the number of deaths was significantly smaller. He also claimed that the entire civilian population was not targeted, one of the required elements in proving crimes against humanity.
To me, and as a matter of logic, it would appear that the targeted population in the Duterte case was selected randomly.
He added that the alleged 9 killings in Davao City cannot be considered widespread. Kaufman also disputed claims about an alleged mass grave at a quarry site in Davao City, saying it was not proven that the remains were linked to extrajudicial killings and could have even dated back to World War II.
They could have dug up the entire city of Davao, but all they have managed to bruise the prosecution on the matter is a reference to Leila de Lima in a Senate committee where she talks about the discovery of a few human remains which could have belonged to World War II Japanese soldiers.
In the second session of the hearing, Kaufman questioned the prosecution's use of the word neutralization, which it equated with murder and anti-drug operations. He argued that neutralization does not necessarily mean killing. Kaufman cited statements from Senator Bato de la Rosa and the revised Philippine National Police operational procedures, saying the term may refer to arrest and detention through lawful means.
In an interview relied on by the prosecution at footnote 136 of the pre-confirmation brief, De La Rosa explains how tok hang means knock and plead, and that it is a totally legitimate police strategy. However, the citations relied on by the prosecution to infer that tok hang was a criminal modus operandi are completely taken out of context.
Responding to defense lawyer Nicholas Kaufman's statements at the ICC, a photojournalist denied that some drug war photos were set up. Basilio Sepe of the Photojournalist Center of the Philippines told One News that the images merely showed events on site as is. Nothing was changed or staged. The group stressed that their role is to record facts on the ground, and they did just that.
Gusto lang din namin na patunayan na hindi crafted or hindi staged yung mga nilalabas na photos ng mga photojournalists, especially during those times, 'di ba? At pinapakita lang din namin kung ano yung totoo, what's happening on the ground. At isa 'yan sa mga, syempre, sa larangan ng trabaho namin, yung mag-document ng reality. It was not really surprising actually that Mr. Kaufman made that kind of statement, particularly given his role as a legal counsel defending his client. Pero as for me, I stand firmly, by my work and by our work as journalists, not just with the photojournalists, na the images we documented were real and they were not staged and they reflect of what was happening on the ground. And in many cases, what was happening behind the violence, during the drug war, and which also has deeply affected, yung mga families and individuals sa mga marginalized communities. So journalists who covered that event did not create that reality. We documented it. So it was our responsibility to present facts and visual evidence so the public could understand the truth of what was really happening.
The confirmation of charges hearing for former President Rodrigo Duterte at the International Criminal Court concludes today, February 27. Later at around 5:30 in the afternoon, Manila time, the prosecution and the defense teams will deliver their closing arguments. Both parties have already presented merits to their cases on the first 3 days of the hearings. Then, on the final hour of today's proceedings at The Hague, will be a review of the detention of the former president. The ICC has already allowed Duterte to skip this hearing. After the confirmation of charges hearings, ICC judges will have up to 60 days to decide where the case will go. There are three possible outcomes. And first, Duterte goes to full trial. If Digong is convicted, he could face prison time of up to 30 years over crimes against humanity charges. The sentence could be appealed. If there is insufficient evidence during the trial stage, the case will be dismissed and Duterte will be released. Second, charges may also be not confirmed. If this happens, proceedings will cease, but the prosecution team can still request new hearings if they find additional evidence. And third, there is a possibility that ICC pretrial judges could ask for further evidence. This means prosecutors could be asked to conduct additional investigations or amend the charges based on evidence already submitted. Meantime, in case you're wondering, there were redactions in the live broadcast of yesterday's hearing. ICC Pretrial Chamber 2 presiding Judge Lulia Motok said the prosecution asked for the redaction when defense lawyer Nicholas Kaufman started mentioning names of witnesses.
Back here at home, families of drug war victims and supporters will gather to watch the last day of the former president's confirmation of charges hearing in The Hague. And for the details, we have our mobile journalist, Arles de los Santos. Arles, anong oras ang simula nitong sabay-sabay nilang panunood? At meron pa ba sila mga pre-programs bago masimulan yung panunood?
Lord, nananatili nga na nagbabantay ang Duterte Panagutin Campaign Network para hanggang sa huling araw ng confirmation of charges ng International Criminal Court o ICC sa The Hague patungkol pa rin syempre sa confirmation of charges laban kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Meron silang mga programa na nakatakda ngayong araw kung saan mamaya-maya lamang 4:30 PM magkakaroon ng kilos protesta sa harap ng College of Media and Communications sa UP Diliman kung saan magsusuot daw ng mga puting headband na may nakasulat na katarungan ang mga kamag-anak at mga advocates ng human rights at pare na rin yung mga mariin na tumututol nga sa extrajudicial killings na nangyari sa madugong war on drugs ng administrasyon ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. At mamayang 5:30 PM naman ay magkakaroon muli online viewing o yung watch party na tinatawag ng iilan doon sa Bulwagang Tandang Sora dito pa din sa UP Diliman kung saan dadalo yung mga biktima ng yung mga kamag-anak ng mga biktima ng EJK pati na rin yung iba pang mga taga-suporta at mga aktivista. Gayon din yung mga kapamilya at kamag-anak ng mga aktivistang pinatay at dinukot at inaresto na nangyari din yung ilan daw sa panahon ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte upang sabay-sabay na manood at manawagan ng katarungan. Ayon sa grupo, binibigyan din nila na yung sakdal daw laban kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa ICC ay ilan lamang daw ito sa mga krimen na kawalang hustisyahan na nangyari sa ilalim ng kanyang administrasyon. Kaya hanggang ngayon ay optimistic sila, they're still positive na magkakaroon nga ng pag-proceed sa full trial laban kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa kasong kinaharap na crimes against humanity doon nga sa ICC sa the Netherlands. Lord.
Alright, maraming salamat. Nag-uulat po ang ating mobile journalist, Arles de los Santos. Okay, time out muna. Marami pa kaming kwento sa inyo. Tulad po ng sunod yung mapapanood ng global headlines from the Associated Press at magbabalik po ang Afternoon Delight.
This is AP News Minute. Cuba says armed Cuban-U.S. residents on a Florida-registered speedboat entered its waters and shot at Cuban troops. It says the soldiers shot back, killing 4 people and wounding 6. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. is gathering information on what happened. Iranian officials accused President Donald Trump of telling big lies ahead of Thursday's nuclear negotiations. U.S. aircraft and warships have been sent to the Middle East to pressure Iran. Bill and Hillary Clinton are set to testify in a House investigation into Jeffrey Epstein Thursday and Friday. There is no evidence of wrongdoing by the former president and former Secretary of State in connection with Epstein. The FBI searched the Los Angeles Unified School District headquarters and the home of its superintendent. Authorities did not immediately give details on what they are investigating.
This is AP News Minute. Oman's foreign minister said Thursday talks between the United States and Iran had ended in Geneva but will resume soon. Badr al-Busati said technical-level talks would take place next week in Vienna, home of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is telling U.S. House lawmakers she had no knowledge of Jeffrey Epstein's or Ghislaine Maxwell's crimes. Her testimony kicked off 2 days of depositions that will include former President Bill Clinton. New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani met with President Trump at the White House on Thursday. Mamdani said on social media he had a productive meeting with Trump while the two men discussed housing issues. A federal judge on Thursday rejected a preservationist group's request to block the Trump administration from continuing construction of a $400 million ballroom at the White House. The group challenging the project argued the president could be emboldened to go further and possibly demolish the White House West Wing or Executive Mansion if the court did not intervene.
And this is still Afternoon Delight on One News. Ako po, si Lourdes Vera.
At ako naman po, si Denise Tan. Magandang hapon po muli.
Alright, on to our stories. Ex-soldiers claiming to be bagmen for resigned Congressman Zaldico have turned in their joint affidavit. And that's through their lawyer, Levi Baligod, who submitted the document to the Office of the Ombudsman. This does not mean, though, the initiation of an automatic probe. More from this report.
A joint affidavit executed by 18 self-identified former soldiers has been submitted to the Office of the Ombudsman. They claim to have delivered flood control kickbacks to public officials, including to President Bongbong Marcos. Their legal counsel, Attorney Levi Baligod, submitted the affidavit but clarified that it is not yet a formal complaint, only a referral. He said the purpose is for the Ombudsman to determine whether prima facie evidence exists against the officials implicated.
Nirefer namin sa Office of the Ombudsman para magkaroon lamang ng prima facie proof na merong offense na nakumit at ang mga napangalanan doon ay maaaring guilty sa mga offenses na ito. Ano ang mga offenses na ito? Ito ay mga pupwedeng violations ng Republic Act 3019 o yung Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. Number 2, yung Republic Act 6713 na nagbabawal na tumanggap ang mga opisyal ng kahit anumang regalo. Ang basehan po namin ay tumanggap sila ng milyon-milyon na pera, pero hindi po yan naipakita sa kanilang salin.
The affidavit alleges that 7 senators and 26 members of the House received kickbacks from former Congressman Zaldico. For its part, the Office of the Ombudsman assured the public that it will exercise fairness, objectivity, and professionalism in evaluating the submission. Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson questioned the group's claim that 805 billion pesos in kickbacks were delivered, saying the figure does not add up based on government flood control allocations. The amount would represent about 70% of the total flood control funds from 2023 to 2025.
So kung ang napunta kay Congressman Zaldico allegedly 805, saan manggagaling yung napunta kay Bernardo? Saan ang napunta kay Alcantara?
So sobra yung computation.
Sobra computation.
But Attorney Baligod has an explanation.
Pero meron tayong irrigation projects na maraming ghost dyan. Okay, at makikita nyo naman, kahapon lang naglabas ng statement si Congressman Erice na di umano yung 2 billion na confidential fund ng customs ay kinuha daw ng ating presidente. No? So maraming pwedeng panggalingan.
Meanwhile, Malacanang responded to former Congressman Mike Defensor's warning that a second batch of whistleblowers may soon come forward.
Mike Defensor, the known Wonder Boy. Marami sa kanyang talumpati ang naghihikayat sa ating mga kababayan na tanggalin sa pwesto ang ating Pangulo. Alam na natin ang motibo. Mike Defensor again? Ador Mawanay 2.0. Kilala ang salitang Mawanay dahil sa pamimilit di umano sa kanya na gumawa ng peking salaysay.
In an interview with Storycon, Defensor said the palace had the wrong spin on the Ador Mawanay angle as he had nothing to do with that. He also denied organizing the 18 alleged bagmen, though he expressed support for them.
I will help out in whatever way I can, because what they're saying is true. But that the government should address the issue, Bongbong Marcos should address the issue, the senators and the congressmen, ano yung perang dinideliver.
In The Hague, the Office of the Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court also issued a statement after being drawn into the controversy. The prosecutor's office said it independently gathers information relevant to its investigations, with activities funded through the ICC's official budget. Baligod's group earlier alleged that Zaldico and former Senator Sani Trillanes funded the expenses of ICC investigators while they were in the country looking into the drug war of former President Rodrigo Duterte.
Then we now go to Malacanang with our mobile journalist Julie Baiza. Julie, ang tanong, kung meron daw ungkata na naman ng drama queen, sino ang hari ng aksyon at sino naman ang prinsipe ng komedya? At may bago daw DENR Secretary. Ano ang sabi ni Auntie Claire? Julie?
Yes, Lord, unahin muna natin yung pagtatalaga ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos bilang acting secretary ng DENR kay Undersecretary Juan Miguel Cuna. Papalitan ni Cuna si dating DENR Secretary Rafael Lotilla na itinalaga naman bilang bagong ambassador ng Pilipinas sa Holy See. Nangyari ngayon sa gitna ng mga bali-balita na nagbitiw sa pwesto si Lotilla. Pero paglilinaw ni Castro, hindi daw siya tinanggal o hindi rin daw siya nagbitiw sa pwesto. Ang nais lang daw ni Lotilla mas magaang na trabaho at anya siguro magdadasal daw lalo't mauupo ngang ambassador ng Holy See. Wala rin daw impormasyon si Castro kung may kinalaman nga itong paglilipat kay Lotilla sa confirmation na bilang bahagi ng gabinete ng Pangulo. Kasi kung maaalala natin, 3 beses nang na-bypass ng Commission on Appointments si Lotilla pagkatapos ng hindi aksyonan yung kanyang nomination bago mag-adjourn yung Kongreso noong nakaraang taon. Samantala, sangayon naman daw ang palasyo kay Vice President Sara Duterte na sana ay nanatili na lang siya bilang mayor ng Davao City. Sabi ni Palace Press Officer Claire Castro, sa ganitong paraan may nahalal daw sana ang bansa na bise na tutulong sa Pangulo. Bumuelta rin ang palasyo doon sa sinabi ni VP Sara na nananatili na lamang na sinabi ni VP Sara na talagang hindi daw na marami na yung nag-cancel sa invitation sa kanya dahil natatakot na pag-initan ng administrasyon. Ang sabi niya, yung mismong ama daw ni Inday Sara, yung nagsabi na may pagkakataon na nagsisinungaling daw ang vice presidente. Nagpakita rin si Castro nung article kung saan nga sinabi daw yan ng dating Pangulo at may nakalagay nga at tinawag nga niya si VP Sara doon na drama queen. So ang sabi ni Yuse Claire kanina, talaga naman daw na nasa huli yung pagsisisi pagdating nga doon sa pagkakahalal dito kay VP Sara na sabi niya puro paninira daw at ang gagawin at sana daw ang nahalal yung aaksyon at hindi magbabakasyon. Lord Denise.
Okay, tanong ka ba?
Anong tawag dito? Julie, I wanted to ask, kasi tinanong si Yuse Claire kanina kung ano yung reaksyon ng Pangulo doon sa kaliwat kanan na nangyayari ngayon sa bansa natin. Of course, the confirmation of charges kay former President Duterte as well as yung mga protesta rin about accountability and transparency doon sa mga flood control projects. May sinabi ba ang Pangulo also at anong reaksyon niya?
Actually, nabanggit nga rin kakabit nitong usapin ng ICC yung mga lumulutang na ulat na may mga drug-related killings na Denise dito daw sa bansa. Kaya ang sinabi ng pinanindigan or of course, giniit ng palasyo, yung posisyon ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na kailanman hindi tayo magre-resort sa karahasan para nga daw sa laban kontra droga. At yung mga nagsasabi naman ng na may drug-related killings, pinayuhan nila na isumite daw yung mga ebidensya sa PNP, sa CIDG at saka sa NBI para makapagsimula sila ng investigasyon. Ang sabi ni Castro, hindi na raw kailangang utusan pa ng Pangulo yung mga nabanggit na law enforcement agencies para magsimula ng investigasyon dahil mandato naman daw nila yan at dapat nga ginagawa na sa ngayon. Doon naman sa flood control issue pa rin, iniintay pa rin yung ulat ng ICI, yung binabasang report ng Pangulo kung ano nga yung magiging kapalaran ng ICI, pero naninindigan nga sila na patuloy pa rin naman daw na kumikilos yung pamahalaan sa pagsugpo nitong anomalya sa flood control. At bagamat medyo talagang kapansin-pansin na tahimik kasi nabanggit nga rin kanina parang December pa yung huling pagre-report ni Pangulo tungkol nga doon sa progress noong investigation. Sorry, nakalimutan ko palang banggitin kanina ibalik ko lang doon sa usapin ng ICC kasi may sinabi si Yuse Claire or sinagot kay Attorney Nicholas Kaufman. Sinabi kasi ni Kaufman na kung iimbitahan nga daw siya ni Yuse Claire dito sa Pilipinas, magkokomento siya sa interim release ni former President Duterte. Ang sabi ni Yuse Claire, First of all, I am not inviting him. Tapos kung ano man daw, lahat naman daw ng tao, kahit mga dayuhan at kanilang pamilya, welcome dito sa Pilipinas. At kung pupunta daw si Kaufman dito sa Pilipinas, ititreat daw niya, bibilhan daw ni Yusek Claire ng balot, kwek-kwek, IUD at Adidas.
Grabe naman. Talagang bakit, parang street food.
Bagoong pala.
Parang mataas sa cholesterol yung mga i-offer.
Kung merong extrajudicial, ito, death by hepatitis. Malamang.
Niloloko nga namin saan kaya sila pupunta, sa Ugbo, o dun sa Fusion Alley.
Ay, oo. Yung si
Diba,
Yorme
kasi yan
kasama niya dun.
Kung imbitado.
Yan yung mga sikat na kung pupunta siya.
Kung pupunta.
Yan yung mga sikat na kainan ng mga street food
Oo,
dito.
matunog ngayon yan.
Diretso na rin sa pagpag. Yung nabibenta ng pagpag, di ba? Para exotic talaga. O yan, matik
Hindi ko lang sure kung merong bagoong doon. Kasi may papakainin din daw niya ng bagoong.
Madali naman maghanap ng bagoong.
Madali lang yan. Oo.
Baka may pag may mangga.
Kahit ano pwede mo lagyan ng bagoong ulam na yon, di ba? Oo, kahit karton pwede yan eh. O, Julie, paulit-ulit, sino-sino pa ba yung mga hindi nakalusot sa CA, hindi pa nakukumpirma ng CA, na mga cabinet officials ulit?
Actually, ilan pa silang acting. Si E.S. Recto, if I'm not mistaken, acting pa rin. Si Secretary Lotilla, actually, siya yung pinaka-natanong namin last time. Kasi nga, 3 beses na. Dahil nga hindi ina-actionan, di bypass kasi yung nangyayari sa kanya. Hindi talagang yung actual na nababypass ng CA. Natapos nga yung Congress last year. So, ilan lang sila doon sa even Secretary Dave Gomez pala, acting pa rin.
Ayaw nga, no?
Acting pa rin siya. Pero kasi wala pang schedule na inilalabas or wala pa ulit schedule yung CA. So I think sa kanila kasi nakadepende yon at hindi naman dito sa mga secretary.
Hanggang sa mga cabinet positions, may acting pa rin, ano? May drama queen.
Oo. Ano yung sa action, action king ba yun?
Inisip ko lang baka may ganun eh. Oo, di ba?
Okay, pero Julie...
Meron ding action, hindi bakasyon.
Ay, oo nga.
Nakakatawa ang declare mo, naglabas mo talaga.
Oo nga, no, may baon prepared si Yusek Claire.
Lagi siyang merong screenshot. Kasi kapag siya din naman yung tinatanong, hinihingi din niya yung direct quote na parang saan ba yan ang galing, saan ba yan nakuha, kung online ba yan, kung validated ba yung info. So, syempre para hindi siya ma-back to you, naglalabas din siya ng printed screenshot.
AKA resibo. Okay,
Nagre-resibo.
Julie, okay, nasan ulit ang presidente ngayon? At ano ba yung activities niya this weekend? Meron ba siyang biyahe papuntang US ulit? Kasi alam ko, pupunta rito ang presidente ng South Korea, di ba, next week?
Yes, yung South Korean president sa March 3, siya sasalubungin dito sa Palasyo. Si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, may biyahe siya pa Estados Unidos, pero second week, March 10, if I'm not mistaken, yung kanyang alis. Kasi magkakaiba sila ng alis with the media, no? Kasi commercial nga yung flight. Tapos, ang schedule today ay may meeting with PISAC, yung Private Advisory Council, para nga pag-usapan, una yung health sector at pag-uusapan din daw yung digitalization and binibigyan din nga daw ng Pangulo yung halaga ng pakikipag-ugnayan sa private sector.
Oo. Tama ba, yung dadaluhan niya sa New York, sa UN, ay parang conference ng women's issues, tama ba, Julie?
Yes, invitation and UN-related yung dadaluhan ng Pangulo sa second week of March.
Yan ang Pangulo natin. Oo, pwede namang representative. Siya mismo pupunta. Anyway, maraming salamat.
Sa New York.
Sa New York. Alam mo naman, ang ating update at nagpapasalamat kami sa ating Mojo sa Malacanang. Julie Baiza. Julie, happy weekend.
And
at this
Gusto ko
point...
yung happy weekend yan. Punong-puno talaga ng affirmation.
Happy weekend!
Finally, tama ka dyan. Happy weekend.
Well, before we head on to the weekend, we first give you a quick rundown of more stories on One News. Residents of La Castellana in Negros Occidental are being advised to wear face masks after ashfall blanketed the area. That's following the moderately explosive eruption of Canlaon volcano yesterday. Thick ash also caused near-zero visibility along roads in Barangay Agisan, Himaylan City. Meanwhile, classes in some parts of the Negros Island region have been suspended due to the ashfall, including Canlaon City, Hinigaran, La Carlota, and Himamaylan. And the National Unity Party has clarified that its earlier statement on the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte is not an official party stand. The NUP earlier said it will most likely not vote in favor of Duterte's impeachment unless new evidence emerges. However, NUP Chairman and Deputy Speaker Ronnie Puno said members will likely be allowed a conscience vote amid divisions within the bloc. The House Committee on Justice is set to begin deliberations on March 2 to determine sufficiency in form and substance of 4 impeachment complaints against the VP. The NUP is the second largest bloc at the House of Representatives.
No, this is not the party stand. This is just the consensus of the ones that I have talked to. We will have another formal meeting. I doubt that there will be a uniform party stand here. No, because there is just too much division among our members. So the tendency now or the direction now is that we probably will have parang a conscience vote, no? That everybody will be allowed to vote the way he wants to vote. There is no clear, there's no clear bias or leaning towards either side at this point, no. So we are very divided right now. So we ended up with, sige, let's see what the evidence will show.
The evidence last time, matatag yun. And saying na may kinausap kang taong handang pumatay sa presidente kahit anong taon, it will always be an impeachable offense. I will not take back my previous vote during the previous impeachment. I'm not aware of any specific party statement or official statement from the party. Miyembro ako ng NUP at nagpapasalamat ako sa partido that they have always respected my principles and my independence pagdating sa mga national issues.
Ako basta ang magiging stand ko dahil sinabi rin naman niya na probably it might be a conscience vote. So doon ako, what is just and what is right.
And in other news, the Department of Science and Technology has launched the National AI Center to boost the country's capability in artificial intelligence. This report from mobile journalist Fatima Baduria.
The Department of Science and Technology has launched the National AI Center for Research and Innovation, or NICRI. Its goal is to advance AI innovations and apply it to national initiatives. The DOST already has a lineup of projects ahead of its National AI Center for Research and Innovation, or NICRI launch. This includes AI-powered chatbots, weather forecasting, and computing systems. NICRI aims to serve as an avenue for technological advancements that leads to national development. According to the DOST, its goal is to bridge the gap between AI awareness and the capacity to use it.
The gap is not awareness, it is institutional capacity. We also face structural challenges, limited advanced computing power, a shortage of specialized AI talent, and even adoption across the regions and governance frameworks that have yet to catch up.
This also means collaborating with the public and private sector alike, ensuring the innovations from the lab eventually reaches Filipinos.
Think of NICRI as a national utility. MSMEs, researchers, government agencies, universities, they plug in, access computing resources, and build and test AI solutions.
The Department of Education has already expressed its interest to work with NICRI for AI solutions in the education sector.
Within the Department of Education, there's also offices there that really look into not just building of AI systems to improve education service delivery, meron din po tayong efforts talaga to look into the curriculum.
According to Solidum, NICRI does not aim to compete against international AI ventures. Instead, it will focus on providing solutions to specific problems in the country.
Huwag niyong isipin na yung ginagawa natin ay gagawa tayo ng something na kakalabanin natin ng ChatGPT or DeepSeek. Hindi ganun ang problema. What is important is we're trying to address the solutions that they face or make things much easier, but not because it's easy, but based on science, based on data.
NICRI is part of the Philippines' national AI strategy, which harmonizes the country's fragmented AI efforts. Kapatid Fatima Baduria, we are One News.
We also give you a quick look at stories from our media partners. From the Philippine Star, the MMDA is again promoting the use of Hotline 136 for traffic-related incidents. It allows quick coordination in deploying enforcers to the scene and better use of CCTV footage to settle arguments. And on Business World, major agencies say the Philippine economy is strong and sure to bounce back in 2026 once the flood control issue dies down. S&P Global Ratings kept a positive outlook, which means a rating upgrade is possible soon. For more details of these stories, you can visit the social media pages of the Philippine Star and Business World. Do check out as well the social media platforms of One News PH for the very latest news.
Alam mo balita doon sa AI na Pinoy? Kung ano raw kumpletong tawag doon? AI de las Alas. Down south, the Environmental Bureau Central Visayas will release air quality data following the eruption of Canlaon volcano yesterday. And for details of our man in Cebu, Dale Israel. Dale.
Good afternoon, Lord and Denise. There is no cause for alarm along the west coast of Cebu City facing Mount Canlaon, according to the Environmental Management Bureau Central Visayas. This is because current wind condition is blowing towards western areas, making the possibility of ashfall reaching Toledo City, Pinambangahan, Alaginsan, and through Dumanhog very remote. There is still no specific advisory yet from the Environmental Management Bureau, Negros Island region. However, local government units in La Castellana and Canlaon have already advised residents to wear face masks and limit outdoor exposure due to the haze caused by the volcano. Meanwhile, it was timely that Bongbong Marcos, or President Bongbong Marcos, yesterday inspected also a food pack facility for disaster response in Mandawi City. Kasi the President visited this barangay Tingo in Mandawi City to personally inspect this newly upgraded Visayas Disaster Resource Center, or VDRC. During this visit, the President witnessed the government's enhanced disaster response capability following the completion of the facility's mechanized production system, or MPS. This is a 117 million peso upgrade funded under the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Fund and completed in July 2025. This added 5 automated vacuum packaging lines, and because of this, the production of family food packs, or FFPs, has become faster and more efficient. From only 5,000 to 8,000 food packs per day under the manual process, the facility can now produce up to 30,000 food packs in just one night-hour shift. That's nearly 3 times more than before. Through machine-operated vacuum sealing, the shelf life also of the food packs is extended and protection against infestation is ensured. This is especially important for stockpiling and pre-positioning supplies in areas frequently hit by typhoon and other disasters. Just like here in the Visayas. At present, an estimated 4 million food packs are already stored in Mandawi City, and there's a target of exceeding 5 million for this year. Food packs nearing expiration are also distributed free of charge to prevent wastage. It is now expected that these food packs stored in Mandawi can now be quickly brought to the affected areas near Mount Canlaon. Back to you, Lord, and it's...
All right, dagang salamat and happy weekend ang ating One News Cebu Desk, Dale Israel.
And you're still watching Afternoon Delight on One News. We just need to pause for another break. We'll be right back.
And you are still watching Afternoon Delight. Thank you for staying with us.
And our delight of the week, may bagoong pa rin ang ating theme. And so, we have pakbet with fish and rice. Perfect food pang Biyernes, lalo na Lenten season na.
Ayun, pakbet. Sa mga Ilocano, pakbet.
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 Sakto, may tug na pula ako.
Ano ba itong isdang to? Ito may bisugo.
Ano ba itong fish na to?
Umaya-maya. Hindi.
Hindi eh.
Or hindi siya may tilapia eh. Pero mukha siyang mamahalin na isda, no? O yan, ikaw ba may bakit pag pakbet walang tili na talaga? Di ba? Napapatili ka kadalasan pag klitsyon kawali.
Hindi, mas gusto ko kasi yung yung may gatanga. Di ba sabi ko mahilig ako, ano bang Ginataang.
Pakbet?
Basta yung may gata. Oo, gulay din. Oo. Ginatang kalabasa. Tama, Direk.
Ginatang kalabasa. Mahilig ka pala sa gata. Alright.
Okay, sige, daanan na muna natin ang ating mga storya on social media. The first one is on the Philippine Star. Instagram to alert parents when teens search for harmful content.
Yan.
Okay, to Instagram will begin notifying parents when their teenage children repeatedly search for content related to self-harm or mental health risks. Platform owner Meta announced Thursday as a company faces mounting legal pressure over its handling of young users.
Oo. Alam mo ba, pag nag-google ka, let's say, ng mga keywords, lalabas agad, let's say, yung mga pag-slashing of risk. I-google mo yun, unang lalabas yung mga numbers for mental health helplines.
I think that nangyari yun sa akin one time kasi I was Googling tapos parang the surname of this person medyo ganon, kunyari tagilid, no? May ano siya, nasama siya dun sa, ano ba tawag doon? Prompt nung
sa search mo.
Nung search na yon. Nagbibigay sila talaga ng info, but this is good news for all parents, and I guess for everyone who is going through something na may magpapaalala din sa kanila.
Sa media, very very strict tayo dyan. Kasi dati, very loose ang reporting. Ngayon, let's say, pag may sinakta ng sarili, nire-report lang yung outcome. Pero hindi marami kasing nagka-copycat, partner.
Oo.
Maraming hindi natin alam yung timplada kasi ng isipan ng mga tao, no?
Yes.
So, pero magandang development to. Maganda rin, halimbawa, kung may lahat, halimbawa, na may yung resulta, makikita naman algorithm kung ano ba yung hinahanap nito or ano yung intention nito.
And this is especially important, especially sa social media, where young kids who are very impressionable, they see other people doing this, doing that, living this kind of life, at hindi may iwasan ikumpara yung kanilang mga sarili also. Kasi
pero talaga bang social media may kasalanan yan? Hindi ba magkakaroon pa rin ng ganyan? As long as may mga teen magazines, kunyari, na nakikita
no, yes.
nila.
But what I'm saying is, it's so accessible na kasi now, as opposed to, like in the past, ako, naranasan ko, yung magazine, pupunta ka pa sa store, bibili ka pa, effort ka pa, kumbaga.
Itatago mo pa sa cabinet ng tatay mo yun.
Yun. Tapos, ito ngayon, kahit na paggising mo pa lang, hanggang pagtulog mo, pwede mong, di ba, tignan ng kung ano-anong nangyayari all around the world.
Maganda pag yung, alam mong, deep dive na talaga, at some point, third photograph, sasabihin, let's say, ng app na, hindi ka ba nahihiya sa sarili mo? Parang, ito na lang gagawin mo sa buhay, kumpara mo, wala kang magagawa, dukha ka talaga.
Ay, ganon?
Wag ka na mag-ambisyon. Or pwede sabihin na, parang si Dan Barzelian ba yun? Yung post na marami siyang mga kasamang, kala mo mayaman, hindi naman daw pala. Ayun.
Okay.
Alice Dixon tayo.
Ayun, sige, ito pag-usapan natin
I can feel it.
On the Philippine Star, why actress and timeless beauty Alice Dixon is unimpressed by young fitness personalities.
Anong point niya? Hindi siya impressed. Pag fit ka at your 20 years old, mga ganyan, ordinaryo lang yan. Balikan mo ako pag nasa 52 anyos.
Actually, parang alam mo, natuwa ako, just to share. I was in this spin class last weekend. Tapos yung kasi the instructor, they all have their own ways of like motivating you. Tapos yung sinabi ng instructor na parang, you have to take care of your body kasi hindi lahat may pribilehiyong may healthy na katawan, na kumpletong mga bias. So parang, when you're younger and when you can move, you really have to take advantage of that and take care of your body. And I mean, good for Alice Dixon. Ano na siya? Ilan taon na ba to si Alice Dixon? 50 plus na? 50? Is that why she said... That's why she said that, come back when you're 50?
Come back to the young and beautiful you. Hindi, kasi hindi naman din lahat ay blessed with such wonderful genes.
That's true. Ako naman movement lang. Hindi naman lahat kailangan fit na fit. Iba yung fit sa pagiging healthy also, di ba?
So, may konting taray ba tong statement ni Ate Alice mo?
Well, I think depende kung paano mo siya tatanggapin. Ano? It can be taken as a challenge or it can be taken as, yun nga, parang pagsusungit o pagtataray.
Hindi kasi lahat ay may luxury din ng time. No? Yung iba kasi kailangan magtrabaho ng 9 to 5.
Oo.
Pagkatapos nun, wala ka ng panahon, di ba? Oo.
Pero ito, hindi lang 9 to 5 na trabaho.
Fit na fit talaga ito.
Oo.
Lalong-lalo na yung nito, better half nito.
Ayun, on One News, ang eksenang nagpakunot ng noo ni Diego Castro, ang latest post ni Diego, and we quote, grr. Haha talaga yung nakasulat. Flight to Hague booked. Panoorin muna natin to.
He said, that's almost what he said during the, that's what he said during the, we're live right now. The Philippines.
The Philippines?
Yeah.
I love the Philippines.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hello, Philippines.
Yeah, he's
Welcome from the Netherlands.
Yeah, he's local from the
We
Netherlands.
also put you this year from the Netherlands. Oh.
Okay.
This year from the Netherlands, we had the biggest support to the Philippines for the sea storming to the Philippines like ever.
Okay.
So we all support you, and Philippines, let's come together.
Okay.
We're one big world. Let's go.
Thank you.
You, of
Okay,
course.
thank you. All right, so yun nga, as I've said, maraming tao dito ngayon because nagkakaroon sila ng gathering. But going back to the case, so they're very confident na kahit yun pa yung pinoint out daw ni Kaufman, ay kulang pa rin daw yun, no? Sabi nga ng prosecution. Diego.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, One News anchor Angela Lagunzad Castro reporting live from The Hague, Netherlands.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News.
Si Diego pala kausap.
Oo.
Hindi. Kung ako yun,
Oh.
Angela, bigay mo nga yung mic sa kanya. Hoy, may asawa na yan.
Ay, nako, teka
Oo.
yung post. Oo.
Yung post. I-comment pala.
Yung comment kasi.
Pakita natin.
Next time na lang natin. I-search nyo na lang on Facebook yung post na yan. Okay, sige, ito naman tayo. Moving on to another story. Also viral online as the plant of the month of Makiling Botanic Gardens. Takaw violation sa MTRCB ang pangalan nito, but there's nothing obscene about science nor about the healing properties of this featured climbing vine. At para bigyan ng muka ang balita, we have Mobile Journal, Daniel Dayaw.
Mga kapatid, ngayong Love Month, isang halaman ang bida sa Makiling Botanic Gardens. Fitting daw ang halaman na ito dahil ang local name nito, basahin nyo na lang po. May dahong hugis puso, bulaklak na kulay lila at puti, at sulfuric na amoy na hindi agad makakalimutan. Ilan nang iyan sa mga katangian ng Paideia foetida o mas kilala sa lokal na name na. Pero bakit nga ba ganyan ang naging pangalan?
Ang mga Pilipino mahilig gumawa ng mga pangalan sa mga halaman base sa mga itsura, base sa kulay, o base sa mga kung anong naobserbahan nila dito. Mabirong dialect, kinukumpara yung amoy nito sa sexual reference. Sulfuric yung amoy niya kasi tinry ko siyang i-crush, yung sobrang baho niya na parang amoy poops na amoy sperm.
Isang herbaceous climbing vine ang halamang ito. Madalas matatagpuan sa masukal at mataas na lugar. Kakaiba man ng amoy kapag nadudurog ang mga dahon, huwag munang umiwas. Dahil sa kabila ng reputasyon nito, ang maraming benepisyo.
Pwede siyang kaining hilaw, pwede din siyang ilaga. Sa other countries like sa India, tsaka sa China, ginagamit nila ito panggamot sa mga sakit na related sa pantog. Yung mga urinary retention, urinary bladder, stones, pwede rin siya gamot sa diarrhea, at marami pang iba. Hindi naman siya scientifically proven. Pero, yun nga, maraming local people na ang gumagamit nito.
Para naman sa mga unang beses palang nakarinig ng pangalan nito, wala naman daw masama, lalo kung scientific naman.
Open-minded po ako so expect na po na rare yung name nung plant. So wala po akong reaction, never ako natawa. It depends na lang kung paano yun mag-justify sa utak nila.
Mahalaga yung benefits naman po, wala naman po sa pangalan niya.
Sa huli, hinihikayat ng MBG na mas unawain ang halaga ng halaman, higit sa pangalan na to.
So amidst the naughty name and also the stinky smell, tara at alamin natin sabay-sabay yung mga medicinal benefits na meron po ang halamang ito. And tulungan natin ang mga kapwa nating Pilipino na i-explore po yung mga lesser known species nga na meron tayo.
Sa ngayon, di muna pwedeng houseplant itong matatagpuan ito sa upper campus ng University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Bukas ang garden araw-araw maliban kapag holiday at 60 pesos lang ang entrance fee. Mga kapatid, Mobile Journal, Daniel Dayo po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
Dapat national plant natin at i-alok mo sa kapwa mo. Gusto mo ng kantoto? And
Pero kakaiba yung amoy, ano?
Oo nga, bakit na-relate sa ganun yun?
Oo nga,
Mabaho ba
parang
silang
nagulungan ako eh. Sige na nga, that will have to do it for us this week and this month. Thank you for watching Afternoon Delight. Have a great weekend, everyone. Ako po, si Denise Tan.
Kung walang problema, bakit naka-asterisk? Join us again next Monday, March 2nd, 2 p.m. Ako po si Lord Vera. Kapatid, we are one news, all sides, all the time. Diego, isama mo ako. Have a delightful afternoon.